Okay. Are we all ready for death and glory?
Is it death or glory?
Yeah,
Or both?
it's all three. It's death and glory, death or glory, or individual death slash glory.
Yeah, Teddy didn't make it. So rip Teddy. F in chat for Teddy.
Alright,
Oh,
this one is for
Actraiser
Teddy.
2.
This one is for Teddy.
This one's for Teddy. Let's go. So obviously changing the difficulty to easy. So difference here is easy, not really easy. The game wants to make you believe it's easy. The only difference is, well, actually, there's a few differences, but we're not going to see the boss rush in easy. Good luck, by the way. X10.
Yep.
This starts with, there's some story, like there are the angels. The angels look a little nicer in this version. The Sky Palace looks a little more janky, though. It's just like pop-up Sky Palace scenery. Anyway, first intended area in Dustin. And the game looks beautiful. Our master is a little beefier. Maybe you should have equipped a little more armor. I don't know. Has a shield and has wings, so can't fully fly, but we get a double jump, and we get glide, and we get a lot more variations of ways to attack in this game. So, and a lot more lag if you get knocked down here. But what's cool is we're going to immediately see the differences between the two games not side by side, but back to back here. Magic in this game works also very differently. You have to like hold the attack button to charge it, and then depending on the direction you're holding, you can release it. And the firebomb is by holding up, and that is the strongest magic in the game. That firebomb magic is going to make this a lot easier. If you've never played the game before and are trying to play it, you're going to want to use that firebomb magic. There's a lot to say about the platforming here. Down stabs, you're invulnerable, and while you're gliding and doing a downward like dive attack, you're also invulnerable. So that's going to be used a lot. And our first bosses here, well, this is the 7 deadly sins. Our first boss is fatigue, and that goes down pretty quick. And so there's 2 acts per area, and then we're gonna face sloth in the next act for this area. Yes, in easy mode you have 5 lives and 5 magic. In normal, you'll have 3 lives and 3 magic to start. So a lot, and the magic charges a lot quicker in easy than compared to normal or hard difficulty. So going in blind though, easy is still very hard. But once you've played like normal or hard difficulty, easy, I guess, is technically easier. And yeah, the movement speed in here is probably like a third of our previous master, who looked a little scrawnier but was able to move a lot faster. This game makes Actraiser 1 feel like arcade fast movement. But our master here, while slower, yeah, the glide is faster, so we're going to be using glide a lot. X10 making this look a lot easier than it is. Some of these jumps are very tight, and some of these glides are very tight as well. Like I mentioned before too, the down stab makes you invulnerable, and these dive attacks make you invulnerable, so that's going to be used a lot as well. Like if you don't know that going into this game, it's brutal. The one nice thing about this game is, besides this firebomb magic, which is very strong, there's really no RNG. Just a couple of things in the game have RNG. Most of the stages are completely scripted. For instance, like every enemy on the screen, scripted, and you're as long as you follow the same movement and path, you'll get the same patterns. So this is one of the most annoying climbs because this water is constantly pushing you down, and of course just more enemies jumping right in front of your path. And then we get to Sloth, which is a giant snail-like creature. So these rocks, oh yeah, you have a shield. Okay, so you skip all the armor, but hey, shield. The shield is used to block the rocks. X10 dodging around the lasers. You have a lot going on every screen. Like, total focus here, because one wrong move and if X10, congratulations though, that was a really good fight. That's one of the hardest fights.
It's a 3 cycle. I prefer 2 cycles.
So if, let's say, X10 died there, all the magic he just used wouldn't get refilled. He'd have to die like 5 times to refill that magic again. And this boss without magic is very hard. Again, that firebomb spell is like the Stardust of Actraiser 1. It is the OP spell. And the other magic is a Phoenix, which gets activated during a dive attack. So those are the 2 main spells that are used in Actraiser 2. And Quintet games all started to feature the Phoenix as one of their like recurring themes. So you're going to see that here. You saw that in Soul Blazer. You see it in various Quintet games. So the next area, so we finished that area. So now I don't even know what to call this area. There's a bunch of weird enemies. Like, it's really cool. Like, the artwork though and the design is amazing. This is also Yuzo Koshiro. The music is fantastic. There's a lot of weird enemies though. And we also have the nice glide over everything there, and well-timed attacks into the birds. And again, X10 going to use the firebomb attack. Just it does massive damage, 3 hits. But as you can see, you have jump attacks, you have dive attacks, you have so many variations of combat here. That's what makes this run really interesting. Like Actraiser 1, the platforming was almost Mickey Mouse compared to Actraiser 2.
I think we should get Actraiser for Smash. He has the moveset.
If you combine the 2 games, it'd be really interesting. So even though the simulation's gone, there is a charm to this game. As you can see, like, the artwork and illustration is amazing. Now, this area, making use of the downstab and the dive attack, so you can basically just go right through spikes, no problem.
I love iframes.
And this is also the auto-scroller section. I assure you, X10 making this look a lot easier than it is, though. The one caveat to this game, or one bug I should say in this game, is the green health drop, while it was supposed to be a health drop, is actually points and not health. Like, if you look at the manual, it was supposed to be health, so the game actually is a little harder than it was intended. They kind of messed up there.
And how I line it up, I use the one club and I line it with the crack in the rocks.
Yeah, those spikes are pretty deadly. So, yeah, it was recently discovered through an interview with the developer of this game that Actraiser, Soul Blazer, and Illusion of Gaia were meant to be the 3 games and Terra Enigma wasn't even considered a thought at that point. So the original intention was Actraiser, Soul Blazer, and Illusion of Gaia to be the basically trilogy. that was recently shown in one of the interviews. In one of the, I think it was a book with Japanese developers. Now, yeah, this boss is really interesting. If there's 4 of those enemies on the screen that he was like spewing out, you can't actually damage the boss. So you have to kind of take out those enemies and then hit the odd hitbox on the front of the scaling boss weird eyeball thing. AKA hunger. So this area's 7 deadly sin is gluttony, or a weird ant-like spider creature thing in the Demon's Cave.
Yeah, this boss always creeps me out.
Yeah, so according to Ayano Kashiro, who did the illustration for this work, they were forced to use Mode 7 in the games because Actraiser 1 was a platform, a console release game basically, and for business purposes they were like, you have to incorporate Mode 7 into the game. So Ayano Kashiro actually tweeted out like they edited it for Actraiser and then they used it for the bosses here, the scaling feature. So it's pretty cool.
Good about the spikes though. Oops.
Yeah, so spikes are insta kill in this version though. So they left that part in for the US release of Actraiser 2. If you don't like spiders, this is not the place for you.
Yeah, close your eyes now.
So here, X10 also making use of the... You can kind of like duck attack, stand attack really quickly. And... well, showing off the sword combat and the spikes are 2 different things here.
Just a reminder, spikes hurt.
I'm just going to point out, though, that this is easy mode, and the amount of enemies on the screen in hard and normal are increased. So I need to reiterate how difficult this game is even on easy. Like, this is not the same amount of enemies. It's ridiculous. Hard is just so many, but again, there's no RNG. You just have to learn the movement. But one wrong step and everything's off. The other thing is X10's using what's called a glide cancel. If you don't end the glide, you'll basically like slide off like that. Like the wings will be flapping and you'll just kind of keep moving momentum, and you could just end up flying right off the ledge. So you have like these roller skate landings, kind of like Luigi in Lost Levels.
Yeah.
So you have to. There's a lot of tech going on for such a small, like, what seems like such a simple platformer. And of course, they don't really intend for you to see very clearly on any of these levels, so let's just put all the stuff in the forefront.
I kind of do like that effect though.
Oh yeah, no, it's really cool. Like, I avoided playing this game for a while, but being such a fan of Actraiser, like, it is really a good game. Like, they didn't add the simulation, but they really made the platforming exciting, and it looks really good. Alright, so here comes Gluttony. Another weird hitbox. As you can see, the fire bombs though also just do damage at the strangest points of attack and do massive damage, so making this fight go really quick. So nice job.
Okay, time for the gauntlet of the next 3 stages, as I call it.
So another thing to point out is X10 is basically following a route where we're saving a little bit of time on the movement for the Sky Palace, but we're going to basically the, I guess, intended later stages kind of first at this point. So Gratis is probably more of a later stage. Now, the enemies in the game got smart here. They know the master spawns from the statue, so here they built a maze around the statue, and they put a little sign.
Welcome, Master, to your doom.
And they got like the pose and all. So the master basically spawning right into this maze. This place is confusing. Spikes everywhere. Oh, yeah. A lot of spikes. The speedrun route for this level is actually really unique. Basically cuts out 50% of it, maybe even more. I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but you can basically just jump down into this acid here and take this shortcut. Like, most people don't just voluntarily jump into acid. There's also a 1-up right here, and we're going to come up to one of the... So we saw a snake mini-boss in the second stage, Benefic. Here we're going to fight the first gargoyle. These gargoyles are a pain, but they have a specific pattern, and you can basically trap them into that pattern.
That's
and just kind of make it look easy by cornering them and just slashing. Once you know the technique, it looks easy, but they are not that simple.
Oh, even if you know the technique, you mess it up. Oof.
Yeah, their sword and shield are much bigger.
Just gonna play it safe in this room. Don't want to die here.
Yeah, getting a 1 cycle in this room is very tight. Definitely no shame in waiting this this spike ceiling, because again, instant kill. And we come up to one of the funniest bosses. This is the Goblin King. He's pretty full of himself. Flies around the screen. If he touches the edge, he actually will generate a shield. And you'll have to take out the shield before you can do more damage. The firebomb spell, though, again, makes pretty quick work when you can hit him.
I'll take that.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
That was the boss that scared me the most of the entire run. So now for the stage that scares me for the entire run. Or second stage.
So Gratis, again, pretty short when you use the shortcut, but the next stage, Stormrook. And we what we say is there's always gold in Stormrook.
Actually, my Stormrook and my PB was the first try. There is no gold. Just red.
Well, it's kind of a joke because, well, you'll see, the stage is basically all gold. And like gold start, flecks of dust floating around. It's actually a really pretty stage.
There's that full moon of yours.
Look at that moon. So much more detail. This is probably one of the longest stages in the run, and it is brutal. the checkpoints are not as friendly as they were in Actraiser 1. However, they do give you a lot of MP, which is not really what you need. You kind of need the health, but not going to complain about the extra MP. And again, this snake mini boss.
Oh, I didn't get the one hit.
A little trickier because there's no floor. Like if you accidentally just dive right off into the pit. But the magic makes quick work. So yeah, here we have the gold dust everywhere. And you kind of have like these, similar to like the Castlevania with the Medusa heads, just everything trying to knock you off pattern here. Yeah, a dive attack does 6 damage if you get the full hitbox. Phoenix is a little tricky with the way the damage works for it. But it is the most powerful magic. So we come up to the gargoyle here. And this is a really basic strat. Just time your slashes, corner it. You're good to go.
I like to kill at night before I grab the health, so this way I actually use the health for something else. Like that damage boost.
Yeah, again, all these spikes, instant kill. As long as you have iframes, you're fine, but otherwise, real pain. Oh, and yeah, to use the shield, you just basically have to not be swinging, and it'll block.
Yep, just like
nice.
Zelda, just stand still, when can pass. That shield actually does reflect stuff if you don't slash your sword.
This game was recently in the Super 16, also the Super 16 race held by SpeedGaming, and I'm glad it was. The goal was to beat Benefic, which is the first 2 stages. It definitely got a lot of attention to this game, a lot more runners, and happy to start seeing this game finally grow. I think once people started playing it and getting into it, they realized it actually it's a good game. It's a cool game. I'm still partial to Actraiser 1, but it's nice. It's definitely a piece of art here. There's a lot of enemies that want to snipe you out of the air. I don't even know what those enemies are that are just like coming up out of nowhere. So X10 making sure he clears out the enemies that would shoot a projectile, because if you get shot out of the air, you're just gonna fall right down, sink like a rock. And no apples here, but again, mostly some health refills right before bosses. This boss is really cool. This is Greed, which is a jeweled dragon. The funny thing is, the US version is like it's called Doom. It, 7 Deadly Sins wasn't allowed, so they had different names. But that's the Greed boss. Really nicely done. Again,
that's my first Stormwork. I never died.
There's always gold.
That's the gold. That's the gold.
It's literally a gold. Like I'm watching X10 split. I told you.
I saw it. I'm like, oh man, I actually got gold.
Don't doubt it. So this game progresses a lot quicker through the areas, but we're already into the Ice Palace, the snow, technically the snow area.
as a kid, this was the second stage I beat.
Yeah, so you don't have a level requirement here. You start with the same health, lives, etc. for every level, so you can go in any order you want. So there's a lot of freedom to explore. Oh yeah, and we have to, I forgot, yeah, we have to ride on these crabs. But of course the crabs attack you while you're trying to ride on them.
You moved so much faster than normal that time.
Like, the game's like, hey, you need to use a platform? Let's make it attack you. Sure, no problem. By the way, considering you just got through some of the hardest stages already, like, you are crushing this game.
Awkward? Okay, there we go. I'm like, oh, what did I do in this situation?
Yeah, well, Hulk already has run Soul Blazer earlier. I think it was yesterday. So we'll just have to run Actraiser 3 after, no problem, right?
I wish there was Actraiser free.
Yeah, the closest we've got is Soul Seraph, which actually is a good speedrun. It's not a good game, but it's a good speedrun.
I've yet to play it. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay, our friend the gargoyle. But the fun thing is the gargoyle's pattern doesn't change, just the layout changes here. But there's a corner, so just force it into the corner.
That's the toughest of them all, in my opinion. They're all the same, but that's the toughest.
So our beautiful Ice Palace boss is Lust. And we have disappearing platforms over absolutely nothing.
I hit down.
That's exciting. But look at this effect here. I mean, it's so cool. I watch this and even I get nervous. The timing on this is very tight. Okay, so Lust Fight basically has two forms. While Lust is floating around as the ice angel there, she's vulnerable, but then forms this like ice ball attack and you can't hit, you just have to dodge. Very close to a 2-cycle there. Also, if you get too close, she could kind of like freeze you and you won't be able to do any attack. Very nicely done.
Yeah, I was happy
The
with that
platforms
stage.
get in the way a little bit.
Actually, I was using the platform to time my magic attack, so it did more damage to her.
Yeah, that was well done. Because yeah, when the like just like the Stardust, when the bomb connects with the land, it's gonna deal more damage. It's got sticking damage. Yes, Shiner. It looks just like the crystal in a Guardian Legend.
So this is the only place you visit twice back to back.
Yeah, so this is what we would call a nightmare. And it's a really cool, like, really cool area. All different stuff going on here. And more annoying enemies that just constantly keep getting in the way.
Now for the RNG the room.
Yeah, so there's 4 places the door here can spawn. And, oh, I think but this whole area loops. So you can just continually fall from platform to platform here. It's such a weird area, but it's so cool. So we're basically looking for the doorway. I see it. I don't know if X10 saw it.
I saw it.
You just get a glimpse of it.
I was going
But
too
now
far.
he's gonna have to re-scroll the screen to get to that door. It's so disorienting though. Like there's a strict pattern from when you load the room, but if it's not the door that you think it is, then you have to revert to plan B.
Yeah, it's like the one thing I didn't run.
Just showing off those wings.
Normally there's more creatures in this room.
So you're gonna want to make it a little more to the left, it looks like. There you go. Oh.
Got it. I'll take it.
Alright. So you clear another mini boss, and then we're in a really trippy area that if you get motion sickness, you probably don't want to watch. Thankfully, we don't have to spend too much time in here. But this place literally spins and gets very dizzying. But the speedrun, you just clip through the wall, or damage boost through the wall, and you're good to go. And we fight Deception. So this boss is a little tricky because he keeps teleporting you to try to do damage. Really nicely done though, and Deception goes down 1 cycle. Nice.
Took a big risk when I was doing those finals that down first into him. If I messed up, I was dead.
The little king there though, begging for his life, was in the middle of the womb of Deception. It's so weird. No, you did well.
Hey, time for my most hated stage, besides favorite stage, Wagfield.
Yeah, Lagfield. I mean, and it's called Deathfield, so this stage is rough. It is appropriately named. If you manage to kill the right enemies, you can reduce the lag, but like X10 said, it's Lagfield too. Yeah. So there's these Yoshi riding knights that we call them. I mean, Yoshi's a little angrier in this version. The fire that you see, that hurts a lot. And so environmental damage in this game is pretty brutal.
Yeah, the fire does 8 damage.
Yeah, you don't want to, if you're going to get, so part of the speedrun is knowing what to get hit by when you take damage to avoid getting hit by things that are just going to wallop you. And one of those things is fire. This little airship section is exciting because you think, oh, this platform will carry me. Nope, this isn't Atos 1 anymore in Actraiser 1. This is, well, these platforms just take a dive after a certain amount of time, and they'll take you right down with them.
I've done it a few hundred times over the years.
Yeah, there's no warning either. You just have to know, oh, hey, yeah.
And you can also walk off the sips if you're not careful too.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you down B, you can clip. You basically clip through a floor, and sometimes, oh well, the airships are basically like, well, you downed B, so
Oh no, you can just straight up walk off them.
yeah, you could do that too.
That's what I just did.
Yeah, I know.
So I make sure that was clear to everyone to not do that. That's not part of the speed strat.
I don't even know if anybody wants to run this game, but trust me, you can do it.
If I can do this, just about anyone can run this game. But just get ready to practice a lot.
So now the Centaur has wings as well, so it's a little bit of an upgrade from Actraiser 1. And I love here, like, the game doesn't tell you where to go. There's no, like, you just have to kind of decide, oh, let me just jump off here, which isn't something you would normally do, because you normally would have died. But yeah, you just float there and you're good. Here comes the angry Yoshi. And just trapped. This is like the Lemmings portion of the game. The enemies just basically walk and then just walk off the ledge. Or the King Arthur's World. It reminds me of King Arthur's World. Similar type game.
But I don't hear you say, "Oh
no!" These enemies are not very bright. They just kind of walk off. Pretty easy to manipulate. And then we have the Mustache King, as people like to call him. Actually, he might literally be called the Mustache King.
Well, in fact,
big sword. Big sword does big things. I mean, look at the size of the master compared to this guy. It's crazy.
I'll take that.
Look at that Phoenix kill. That was cinematic.
There's a quick kill on that boss too. I don't know how to figure it out.
That was a good kill.
No, that was a good fight. I didn't die. I died to him so many times during practice.
So in our theme of the volcano and fire and death, here's our volcano stage. This stage gives me a headache because it's shaking just about the entire time. So hopefully X10 gets through it rather quickly. I trust.
And hopefully I don't get bouldered.
But this is one of those stages where there's a little bit of RNG, aka the boulders. As long as you keep moving, it's fine, but if you hesitate, well, then things get tricky. But yeah, welcome to the shaking stage.
I was dead either way.
That was a good dive. I give you at least an 8 for the dive.
I want a 10 for that one then.
So again, the dive cancels and glide cancels are very important here, because any one of these ledges are too short. You just slide right off. Man, I'm holding my breath as these boulders are coming down. Not gonna lie.
So was I. I'm doing the running as well.
Okay, so we did make a checkpoint at least. Now we have to climb this monster of a volcano. More disappearing ledges though. These aren't really too much of an issue. Another mechanic is you can buffer your next jump. So a lot of the technique in this game is buffering each movement, which would allow you to also double jump to certain ledges. And X10 showing what would happen if you wait too long. Your wings aren't that helpful.
Okay. It's the game.
At least at that point, there was something below.
Yeah. That's the one time you can afford to mess up.
This area is mainly difficult because of platforming. The enemies don't really pose too much of a threat. In fact, the boss here is probably one of the easiest bosses in the game once you actually know what to do with it. But man, this level is a beast. And there's no shortage of enemies right where you need to jump.
Alright, time for the auto score.
Thankfully, the screen has stopped shaking. We get to stand on these beautiful little meatballs or sponges. Oh yeah, there's lightning, by the way. And we don't know if the lightning is going to spawn right on top of us, right in front of us, right where we need to jump. Who knows? That's always fun. I think there's about 5 stages left. Or 4. 3 stages, that's right. Well, yeah.
I had to count it myself, but I'm like, wait. Don't make more work for me. This is tough enough as is. Normally would have been 4. But since we're playing easy, I don't have to do the 1.
Oh, don't worry. Everything's fine. And we're at the edge, but if you go too high, you'll die if the screen didn't scroll, so it's very cautious here. But yeah, this boss has a little bit of a shield right in the beginning. Took a nice dive off the ledge there, because what's the hitbox of this ledge? We have no idea. There you go.
That's how it's done.
And then real easy, just down stab. Yeah, that's basically I would say one of the easiest fights. It's the Wrath fight.
Yeah, just be very wrathful.
No need to even use magic. So the next 2 areas I guess would have been intended to do after the first 2 stages that we did early in the beginning. Like these are supposed to be the easier stages. It's just kind of nice that they're left for last, just based on the order of the Sky Palace movement that we've done. And these are some of my favorite stages.
Yeah,
the
the
music
scenery
here is really emotional.
and also the scenery of these stages too.
Yeah.
Especially this one, this whole town.
Yeah, they were just pushed underwater and so you have some of these fish. The shark are probably the most deadly on the screen right now. They are brutal. More lag. There's so many enemies on the screen. And you basically start walking towards the mollusk here. So this is kind of the tentacles forming this this mollusk. Just the way it's all like laid out or drawn out is really neat here. So you get to the actual boss. which is the hitbox is actually the eye. Those spikes though on the right are instant death. So just one little movement over to the right and it's over. But perfect lineup of the down stab, a few down stabs, and it's done.
When did the
A lot
fight
of people
part?
get to this boss, they don't know what to hit. It's not really clear. But nice fight.
I mistimed that hit so many times this week. I finally got it this time.
Yeah, because that little claw on the left side is very annoying, to say the least.
Well, no. See, if you do it too early, you do no damage to the boss.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. You want to lure the left little claw over and then get to the eye when it's finally like, hey, now you can hurt me.
Yeah, don't attack it till you hear the music, folks.
If you look in the background, we see Envy. Envy's apparition, basically. Very, very eerie face. But the way they do it as you approach, and then it looks back as the screen transitions, is just really nice. A lot of the jumps here require you to make use of the double jump at a very strict timing, otherwise you just can't make the jump and die on the spikes. So this particular jump, so you have a couple options. You could take a damage boost through a fish, or there you go, you got the timing. Okay, so again, we're going to see the apparition here of Envy, and you basically can chase this down the hallway, just keeping pushing it with your sword. There's a few techniques here to move this along. This is obviously the most consistent. Look at the face. I mean, just such amazing artwork here. And here's Envy, the boss. You have enough health, so with a few well-timed fire bombs, you really do massive damage to the core. Nicely done.
Did I still help and I had to hit again?
I think so. I didn't see a dot.
Yeah, neither did I. Okay.
I mean, it's so small and brown. It may have blended in, but I honestly didn't see one.
Let's watch the repeat here for myself. Yeah, no. Yeah, no health.
That's an interesting thing. I know it doesn't become vulnerable when at a certain point, but I had never seen it that it had no health. That was interesting. Well, here we are in Humbleton, and basically this is like the Tower of Babel. The people are building this tower to try to overthrow the god. So they're building a tower to the sky, and they've built all these machines. And this is going to be the last level in easy. This has gone really quick. Really great job.
This is the one that scares me the most.
Yeah, this level has a lot of tricky platforming. The route is not very obvious to just like if you were doing a first playthrough, the route is very, very confusing of how it's actually intended. The double jumps that are required here are very, very tight. And as you advance up this tower, the floor basically disappears. So any missed jump, you'll fall to your death. You don't get another chance. You have to climb back up. It just counts as a death. The checkpoint is all the way back at the beginning of the tower, basically. So yeah, so there's like this jump, which is like basically a double jump without a jump cancel. Like it's such a weird path up the tower. And of course you have like that Castlevania clock tower situation with flying things trying to knock you out while you're trying to jump. They throw everything at you here. So these little jumps to the gears, again, having to do the jump cancel, the glide cancels. If you hit that lightning at the top, it'll kill you. Well, it'll damage you and knock you down, basically.
Then kill you because you miss the gears every single time.
Yeah, it's not I shouldn't say it's an instant kill, but it'll knock you.
It does the job pretty well, though.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
And you happen to catch a gear on that fall. At least you got to show it off. So fun fact, the Japanese version of this game on easy, those lightning bolts are disabled. They don't do anything. So the US version's harder.
I wish I knew that. I might switch to the Japanese version. Anything else I should know that makes hinder my performance in the Japanese version?
No, it's actually completely easier on easy. It's
okay.
On the other difficulties it isn't, but for easy it's easier. It also skips the spike room in gratis. It's just that whole spike room in gratis that was moving doesn't exist.
I like that part though. I know I'm one of very few.
But you can handle it so well now, you know, don't even worry about it. So this tower has a mini boss rush, which is kind of unique. This also reminds me a little bit of Eternal Champions for like Sega's, the way these arenas set up here. So this was the first mini boss we saw in the game. It's a little different though when you're doing it in a boss rush because you have only a limited amount of magic here and lives.
Luckily, I did get extra MP.
Yeah, you did grab an extra MP, or you had an MP drop, so that's really cool. So again, these bosses basically have fixed pattern, at least the snake does. Just juggle this with a dive. Gonna get to see more of the juggling with the dive. But yeah, it's a tricky fight. The timing on it is you can get a couple extra hits in, you can do a couple jump attacks, but if you're off on the timing, then it becomes really difficult. The fun fact too is when it's exploding at the end, it actually will hurt you.
Yeah, so I've died to that.
Like it doesn't do that on any other part, but here, yep. Not fun. So X10, I guess, opting to hold on to all the magic at this point?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a few options here. You can firebomb this bird, because this bird does take a long time.
I can do one.
Yeah, with the extra magic, you definitely have room for at least one. That was a good drop. The final boss here is Pride. And there's definitely some RNG with Pride, so having the extra magic makes for a better chance that that RNG is not going to be a problem. Our Pegasus Centaur combo here.
Oops. Reset.
Look at this standoff.
I'm fine with that.
2 to go.
I'm probably gonna take a death here.
This was our Ice Palace or Palace Nightmare mini boss. You didn't really. This boss goes down pretty quick in the Ice Palace. You don't really see much of it. It has like 2 attacks: a punch that you can just stand on the platform and never get hit by, and then those little things that it shoots out, which also don't do too much damage. So it's a pretty easy one. But then you get the gargoyle. Ideally, you can trap this gargoyle in the corner. It's tight though. Our X10 getting a few really good hits there. Just walking it along, no problem. Really good on the timing. Not taking any damage. Well, took a little too soon. But in a really good position. 3 lives. Plenty of magic. Here comes Pride. Basically the final boss of easy. This boss has a few different attacks. The one that you don't want is the stopwatch, because you will just get stuck there for 8 seconds waiting. And it can do that repeatedly. Don't even have a chance to see that. Pride's done. GG.
Finally, I get
Basically
1-1.
Destroying Actraiser 1 and Actraiser 2 back to back.
One of the parts I'm most proud of, the toughest of all of them, is the one I have under time estimate.
Okay, so you just made Actraiser 2 look easier than Actraiser 1.
Yeah.
And I will say Actraiser 2 is very difficult at first, but when you know the strats, it's a nice game. And X10 just absolutely crushing it. Has it ever been run back to back in a marathon? I don't even know. That was really well done.
Well, I'm gonna dedicate this one to the Super Nintendo Super Stars.
It's a good system, good set of games here.
Though I do want to give my thanks to Zen for being here to commentate for me, Visual for running the marathon, all the staff that's helping Visual keeping this run smoothly, and I hope you all enjoyed the Chrono Trigger one that's about to come up. I believe it's a randomizer.
Yeah, looking forward to more Chrono Trigger. Thanks everyone. Again, great job, X10.
Yeah. I'll take a completed one of Actraiser 2 any day. Though I'll probably reset in Paris 2. No, I'll reset in Paris 1. Most likely.
No, you did great. I hope to see more runners in Actraiser. Again, my favorite game. Always running it too, so...
And if anyone needs help,
X10.
we do have a Discord.
And thank you. Yeah, and the Quintet Discord, obviously, check that out.
If you need it, just message me and I'll send you the link.